All right, fellas, welcome to Press Pass Live, your weekly podcast show for the OMFL. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's show. It is playoff time, but before we dive into it, we are lucky enough to have both of our guys on with us today. Let me welcome in Hude and our champion, Dwayne. Fellas, welcome to the show.
I appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Short and sweet, that's what I like. All right, let's hop right into it, fellas. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to try to squeeze in a quick show, and then hopefully, some way, somehow, once the playoffs are set, we are in week 16. Once the seeding is set, once all that is ready to go, maybe we can all three hop on real quick and do a quick playoff prediction show. I know we did that last year, and I got to admit, something is up with my internet. It is slow as molasses all of a sudden. A bunch of guys are doing work outside, so maybe that has something to do with it. But I want to cover a couple of weekly scores here just if I can get this thing to reload for me. So give me just a second to mess with these technical difficulties. There we go. All right, let's cover weeks 14 and 15 since we are sitting in week 17, and then we're going to hop right into the show. The Kansas City Chiefs beat the Cleveland Browns 27-13. Those Chiefs have had an amazing season, and those poor Browns, man, they're trying to figure it out, but they are struggling. The Vikings with a really nice victory over the Buccaneers, 34-32. You also have the New York Giants beating the Colts 33-26. A tough one for Colin there. The Patriots with a 29-7 victory over the Jets. Good to have an owner there finally. The Bears with a 23-3 victory over the Lions. The Falcons with a 24-3 victory over the Ravens. Jaguars starting to turn it on here lately, 34-20 over the Redskins. The 49ers squeak out a win against the Saints, 25-24. I know they did lose their rookie quarterback that game and struggled with trying to find an answer. The Bengals with a 20-3 victory over the Raiders. That's a nice victory for Hude and his Bengals. Bills with a 31-28 victory over the Dolphins. Man, those Dolphins have had an up and down season. The Broncos squeaked by the Chargers 24-21. My Cardinals squeaked by Mo and the Seahawks 16-14. The Dallas Cowboys with a 45-38 victory over the CPU Eagles. The Packers 31, the Rams 24. That's a game that we didn't see happening or coming. That's a kind of a shocker because the Rams have played amazing football this season. The Panthers with a 24-6 victory over the Steelers. And to wrap up week number 14, the Titans come away with a 38-24 victory over the Texans. Let's check out the last week, the week that we just advanced from last night. Yes, this is not a test. This is real. 0-0. The Saints and Panthers played to a tie. The Saints missed a couple of field goals, so did the Panthers. And the Saints are missing their rookie quarterback sensation, and it really hurt them this game. The Seahawks come out of this game with a 24-23 victory over the 49ers. The Buccaneers barely squeezed by the Browns 20-13. The Lions whip up on my Cardinals 18-22. The Chargers with an impressive victory over the Chiefs. Those Chargers have really played good football these last 4 or 5 weeks. 31-24 at home. The Bills with a 41-17 victory over the Jets. The Broncos with a flexing their muscles against those Patriots, 31-16 with a nice victory at home. The Vikings with a 27-13 victory over the Rams, and those Rams have begun to stumble the last few weeks, and it's really interesting to see why that's happening. The Giants continue to roar back this season, 24-17 over the Redskins. The Cowboys 31, the Texans 10. The Colts 31-13 over the Titans, a nice victory for Colin. The Bears beat the Eagles 33-28. The Dolphins bouncing back from last week's loss 21-17 over the Raiders. The Falcons really showing the Packers what's up, 44-24 over the Packers. The Jaguars 20-13 over the Bengals in a tight AFC battle there. The Ravens 27, the Steelers 3, and that wraps up week 15 and puts us into week 16. That finally Daddy Leaks has updated itself. There is a couple of scores in, but you know what? We're going to save those for the next Press Pass Live where we'll cover week 16 and 17 and then the playoff seeding. So, gentlemen, now that we've caught up with some scores, let's just jump right in there with some back and forth from both of you. I want to get your input here. Let's talk about a couple of these divisional races. Now, some of these are over, but the ones that I'd like for you guys to talk about and just give me your predictions on how this is going to come out. The AFC East is still very much open as New England and Buffalo are battling it out. The AFC North is still very much open. This is going to be a battle of just whoever can last, okay? With the last team standing is going to win this division. And guys, it very much could be a losing team that is going to win the AFC North. The AFC South is pretty much wrapped up. The Jacksonville Jaguars have that one. The AFC West, a slight, tiny chance for the Chargers, but that one's probably over. We can talk about the AFC West. The NFC East is wrapped up. That's the Dallas Cowboys. The NFC North, there's again a tiny little absolute small chance, but that one's pretty much going to be the Vikings. The NFC South is still very much open, a little tiny chance for the Tampa Bay Bucks. And the NFC West is pretty much wrapped up. It is the St. Louis Rams. So in the AFC East, North, and West, give me your guys' predictions. And then NFC East, the NFC North, the NFC South, give me your predictions. And we're going to start with you, Wayne. Go ahead and tell me, who do you think is going to win these couple of divisions? Some of them, there's not so much of a chance, but some of them are very much wide open.
Yeah, you're right. A lot of these divisions are kind of crazy how close they're coming down to the going to be last week of the season fighting for these division titles. I get started with the AFC East. Buffalo has a slight chance, but New England's has beat them twice this year, so they got the tiebreaker on them, and so I'm just going to give the Pats that one. AFC North, I wish that Houday would have been here earlier and I could have messed with him about it, but it's just so crazy in there, crazy. Looking at it though, I unless a miracle, something crazy happens, which Cleveland does have 2 hard games to finish the season, I think Cleveland's probably going to come out of that division. And then the AFC West, I think the Chiefs got it. San Diego and Denver are going to be in the playoffs. But I think the Chiefs got that one all wrapped up. NFC North, I would like to say that the Green Bay is going to come back and win that division, but I just can't count out the Kingpin. He just played crazy the second half of this season. And NFC South, I think if Falcons win this week, it'll be clinched. But like I said, you can't ever count what I can screw up and how Tampa Bay can keep winning. But that's the way I look at the divisions right now.
For me, AFC East, the Pats have a better record. Like you said, they beat Buffalo twice already, so they own the tiebreaker. I think they get in. AFC North, honestly, I don't feel like any of us deserve to get in the playoffs, but that's the way it works. I think there's a very good possibility the Browns drop these last 2 games. I have to win 2, and he has to lose both for me to get in. I don't see that happening. I don't see me winning both of these games. The Ravens, I'm pretty sure they still have a shot. So if the Ravens beat me this week, they could sneak in and get it. I think the Chiefs have the AFC West pretty much, locked up. I look for the Vikings to take the North over in the NFC, and of course, I'll take the Falcons over the Bucks in the NFC South. I don't think Wayne's going to lose this week.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how some of these races come to fruition and who actually wins them. I think the AFC East is wrapped up. I think the AFC West is wrapped up. I like both New England and Kansas City coming out of there. I do think the NFC North is wrapped up. And I do think the NFC South is all wrapped up. I just don't see Dwayne losing any of these last few games, and he's going to win that division. The one division that I think is just up for grabs is that AFC North. I'd like to see I'd like to see Houday get in there, but I also am pulling for Outlaw. But I couldn't be mad if the new guy taking over the Ravens hopped in there. It would make for an interesting battle just to see what happens. So let's talk about a couple of these teams that have turned it on here lately. Buy or sell as a playoff team, the New York Giants. What do you like about the Giants? Buy or sell them as a playoff team?
Uh, the way it stands right now, I think he's a great player. I've watched some of his footage. He definitely has some skills on the sticks. I think next year will be his year. I think he'll make a lot of noise in the NFC, but this year I'm going to have to sell on him for the playoffs. He's 8-6. He's got the Cowboys this week, and he's got Brady with Jacksonville next week. The Cardinals, Packers, and Bucks are at 9-6. So unless he just balls out and beats the Cowboys and the Jags, and Cardinals, Packers, Bucks drop the ball coming down the stretch, I think he can't get in this year.
Well,
Your cue, Dwayne.
Yeah, I was say he kind of left me speechless there because he went the exact opposite route I was going to go, but he makes some awesome points. Awesome points. Yeah, I didn't even look for it. I've seen him playing Dallas this week. I did not know he played Brady week 17. That changes the whole thing because that is two teams that can win the championship today that he's got to play to make the playoffs. And like I said, the Packers, the Bucks, and your Cardinals all already a win ahead of him. Y'all already have 9, so he's gonna have to win out to make the playoffs. I'm kind of like him. I see him since he's been in the league. He's only lost 1 game. I see him as a winner next year. I think he might have came in, I'd say just a tad too late to make a run at this playoffs. And the NFC is just so deep. You got 8 teams right now with 9 wins. You could possibly have 8 teams with 10 wins, with 2 of them not making the playoffs. Great player, great on the sticks. I personally know he's good on the sticks because he beat me. Next year's his year. I don't think he makes the playoffs this year. Next year, if I was the Cowboys, I'd be looking back at him for sure.
Yeah, if he beats the Cowboys and the Jaguars, he absolutely deserves to be in the playoffs, and he will be a force to be reckoned with. I haven't talked to Nolan a lot since he's come back, but we do have a history. He was on the board here back when we were grown folks and played here, and so I know that he is a very good player, and he's picking up a team that is not shaped to fit him. And so I'm going to hold – I want to buy him because I know how good of a player he is. But, man, he's got the the Cowboys, I should say, and the Jaguars, and that is just a tough sell, especially with guys already being ahead of him and him needing to win out. So buy or sell the Bills as a playoff team. Dwayne, we're going to start with you on this one. Buy or sell the Bills. Do they make the playoffs? Do you like them?
They're a stretch to make the playoffs already because they're behind the Broncos and Chargers, a 10 and 11 win team to make the playoffs. And looking at their last 2 games, I think they got the Chiefs, tough game, and Steelers is a tough game. As good as I think the Bills are, and I know he inherited a team that was probably not built for the 99% of people in America. He did a good job with them, but I don't think he makes the playoffs. I think the competition is too tough for those 2 wild card spots, and he would have to win out and actually hope that. I mean, it's out of his destiny. He can't control it. He's got to hope them 2 teams ahead of him, especially the Broncos, lose out and he has to win out. But I don't see it happening as good as I think he is as a team and a player. I don't think he makes it this year.
I'm going to have to sell it too. They're at 9-5. Patriots are already ahead of them in the division. Both the wild card spots, pretty certain are going to go to the AFC West this year. His best hope, the Broncos, they're 10-4. He wants them to lose out, but the Broncos have the Browns this week and the Ravens next week. So, AFC North continues its losing tradition. The Broncos have got it wrapped up. If he beats the Chiefs and then beats the Steelers, it's possible. But I think the AFC North, we're too weak right now. I see the Broncos getting both those games and both the wild card spots going to the AFC West.
Yeah, if the Buffalo Bills were in the AFC North, he'd already have this division already wrapped up, and unfortunately he is not. And for the first time the Buffalo Bills in the last 2 seasons are not going to be in the Super Bowl. But he's got nothing. B-Hog has nothing to hang his head about. He had a really good season. A team that inherited a couple of losses there while we were looking for a new owner. And so stuff happens, rebuild, get ready for the next season. He'll be a force to be reckoned with. So give me your favorites to win the whole thing and your dark horse that could shock some teams, could shock some people, and could win this entire thing. Dwayne, I think, would definitely have followed into that dark horse category last season because everyone really had already chalked this up and given it to the Buffalo Bills, and yet Dwayne, you're sitting here as champion. So give me your favorite, give me your dark horse. Who they let you go ahead and start with this one. Who do you like going into the playoffs?
My dark horse this year, I've already talked to Wayne about it. I think it's the Chargers. To do what he's doing with what he has against who he's doing it against, with the Chiefs and the Broncos, I think he's right there. I think a few more weeks in the league, I think he sits on top of the AFC West. I play him in week 17, so I don't look to get him to the playoffs, if that tells you anything. So I look for him to make a lot of noise, and I'll look for him to be in the Super Bowl, in my honest opinion. My favorite this year, I'm going to have to roll with Wayne and the Falcons. Last year, the Bucks were hot, the Cardinals were hot. There were a lot of good teams coming out of the NFC. But I told Wayne before the playoffs even started, I think it's you and Ducks, and I think you're going to beat Ducks. And I told him that the whole way. We all love Wayne. He builds his team a little different. I think you give Wayne some more speed on defense. I don't think he loses very many games at all, if any. He likes his team. He builds it the way he wants, and he wins with it. But I think as far as stick skills, he's the best player I've played against that we have in the league right now. So I'm going to look for Falcons Chargers in the Super Bowl this year.
Man, you left me blushing over here, Houday. You're right on a lot of, especially if you're going to go back to talking about the dark horse last year. I like the dark horse role. It was a lot less pressure than it was being the number 1 seed the year before. Everybody's gunning for you, and that's why I give a lot of respect to Ducks for those 2 years, because he had target on his back for 2 years, and he handled it. My favorite in the AFC, and like I said, I've rode with him. I actually thought he would overthrow Ducks the last 2 years, is going to be the Pats. I think the Patriots can do it. Offensively, he's probably one of the best players I've played on this game. And like I said, I do think this is his year. I think, especially with Ducks getting out of the league and the Bills opening up, the AFC opened up a lot, and you're seeing a lot of talent coming out of the AFC. I think the Pats are my favorite. And if I had to go with a dark horse, it's a little off because I'm with Houday on the Chargers. I think the Chargers kind of crept up, and I don't think nobody even looked at the Chargers to the last couple weeks. But I'll have to say that the Broncos are my dark horse. I think they're another team that's kind of underachieved last couple years, and I think everybody's kind of wrote them off this year as a Super Bowl contender. And I think they can, especially if he gets on one of his roles, he goes little streaks where he's just unstoppable. I think he can be the dark horse out of the AFC. And the NFC is not near as I guess unpredictable to me. My favorite's the Cowboys right offhand. I think they're just the team. He's a hell of a player on the sticks, and he's got the Cowboys themselves are built to be a great team. And I'm not showing no Cowboy bias, but overall wise, they're built to be a great team. I think he's the man to beat in the NFC. And my dark horse, I don't want to. It's pretty tough actually. I got 2 teams I chose between, but I'm gonna have to go with your Cards, Nate. Last couple weeks I've watched. You just happen to play late every night, and I'm at work, and I watch your games, and you're really a turnover or 2 away from being 11-4. Actually, you could be 12-3 real easy. I just
true.
thought
Yeah.
I think if your team, you can't overlook the Cardinals. And if you go in there thinking you're coming out with a win, you're gonna be rudely woken up. I think that if Garoppolo just cuts down his turnovers just a little bit, I actually think you might have been the AFC West champion if a few of those passes went a different way. So I'm gonna have to go with the Cards as my dark horse pick in the NFC.
I think that you guys had a couple of good picks. I do like Kansas City as my guy to win it all. That guy's just played unbelievable this season. I'd love to pick Brady because he's my buddy, but he's got to show me something in the playoffs. Dawson, I know you listening. I know you on the show. I know you hear me. You not a dark horse. You've been the number one team all season long. You don't fall into the dark horse, but you better watch out for those Los Angeles Rams. Even though they've struggled these last few weeks, my dark horse, I will say there's a bit of a caveat. I don't know who they made such a great case for the Giants not to make the playoffs. I have serious doubts that they will. If they make it, they're my dark horse, but I don't know that they'll make it. So my dark horse is going to move over to the Minnesota Vikings. He's got a lot to show me still. I don't know that I ain't betting the house on him, but I do think that he's playing the same style he played in San Francisco, but he's got the team that fits him better, and he's gotten some really impressive victories the last couple of weeks. So there you have it, gentlemen. We have looked at weeks 14, 15 here in the OMFL. Week 16 is well underway, and before you know it, we'll be in the playoffs, and we'll see. Maybe, by Sunday night we'll be in the playoffs, and maybe we could hop on and do a quick 30-minute show and take a look at the playoffs, the seeding, and who we predicting to win it all. So let's go to our segment of outside of the league. Let's talk about some things that happened here in this last week, and that is Madden 17 update. On the last show, Dwayne and I kind of broke down the new engine that is coming over to Madden 18, but EA Sports is doing us right this year. Again, I applaud. Look, their app sucks. If anyone from EA listens to this, your app sucks. It crashes constantly. I hate the thing, but it was a necessity for us to be able to have daddy leaks, and for that, I'm grateful that you put it out finally. But I got to give it to them. They've had more hits than misses. This has been a great game. But there was a new update that made some tweaks, worked on some things. They maybe broke a few things in the process, so I wouldn't be shocked if there is one more update that comes out for this Madden 17. But a couple of big things did change, one of them including the speed. I know, Dwayne, you've done your homework. You've kind of got the list out there. So I want to give you guys a couple of minutes. Dwayne, we'll start with you. Talk about the update. Give me your feelings. Tell me what you think about this latest update for Madden 17.
All right. I'll leave it to Hude to talk more about the actual gameplay. I don't think I've actually got to play a game since we updated it, since they gave the update out. But I do have a list, a lot of the patch notes, and like I said, a lot of it is some good stuff. I mean, 3 or 4 of them that I found on here are things I actually ran into this year. The one big thing that stuck out to me was the offensive line, defensive line. To me, the defensive line has been so overpowered, and I can say this as in my lineman has been so overpowered. I like the fact that they're going to bring the offensive lineman, I guess, to close the gap between the defensive line and offensive line, and I think that's a big deal because I can speak for anybody that's played me. I wouldn't want to see Clowney in the backfield in 2 seconds when I snap the ball. But like I said, I haven't played with it, so I haven't got to see this speed differential. I haven't got to see, and I've heard so much about it that it changed a lot of the gameplay. So I'm actually gonna let Hude talk more about the gameplay itself, because I mean, playing it's a lot easier to talk about it than reading it off a page. So I'll hand this off to my AFC North friend.
I played Brady right after the morning it got released. I'm indifferent, I guess, because I've only had a week with it. Our first game, I'm not a good player. I'm not a bad player. I'm that 500 club. But the only time I've ever been shut out in a game ever, in a Madden game period, is the last time I played Brady. This game, I was in there, so I'm not going to complain about it. I appreciate it, EA. Thank you. But it is noticeably slower. Because Brady sent me a message right after the game before anybody else had started discussion about it. I mean, it just came out. He's like, man, why was that game so slow? And initially I thought it was because, me and Brady, it's the way we play. We run the ball. You're not going to see a bunch of big plays. I just thought it was a pace thing maybe. But I'm actually in the process of switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4, so I've spent a lot of time in practice. There's a lot of things that have changed. I'm not getting near as much pressure off the line. Most of the time I'm a 2 and 3 sack a game type of team. I don't see that happening. It seems to me, I didn't see it on the list, but the speed threshold, I'm sure it's supposed to be the same. It seems like that threshold's been closed a little bit. I've got some real burners on my team. I mean, you look at on a track star, you're not playing wide receiver for the Bengals, but I've got some corners with 89, 90 speed, and they're sticking right in there with them, as opposed to a few weeks ago they weren't doing that. So I think there's some good things and some bad things, but I'm just looking to try it out for another week before I give my, stamp of approval on it.
Yeah, I played the Lions the night after it came out, and I can tell you it definitely affected my gameplay. It took me 3 quarters to even get used to it. It was really, really slow, and you have to play a different way when it's that slow. Um, and it did. It took me 3 quarters to really begin to adjust to it and begin to make changes. And for my game against the Lions, it just was too little, too late for me to be able to adjust. This week, it felt more comfortable, but still, you could tell there were plays where I expected my guy to hit the hole in enough time. I expected that I would have plenty enough time to get around this guy. And just because the gameplay is so slow, because that threshold has been closed, and now our sliders were set for the way the game played all season. I really think our slider is going to have to be adjusted. And so we are. We are very open to feedback from the league. We read your feedback forums. We're looking for feedback about how people feel about the slowness. We may have to bump up too fast to even that up a little bit, but I would look for us this offseason to have to take a hard look at our sliders around pass blocking, possibly around run blocking. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Definitely around pass blocking, because it seems to be a little, because of our sliders and the update, the pass blocking is too good now. So pass blocking is going to have to be looked at. Threshold's going to have to be looked at, the speed threshold, because again, it was adjusted for that normal gameplay speed that we had. And now that it's much slower and that threshold has been closed, maybe we got to open it up on our end just a little bit more so that those true 95 speed guys can act like a 95 speed guy, don't have an 89 speed guy keeping up with him. Now, I don't want it crazy where every 95 speed guy just is absolutely way faster than everybody else, but there should be some kind of small gap there. And then again, looking at how we have that game speed set on. So this update definitely changed some stuff, and I think it's going to affect how the playoffs play out, who makes the playoffs, and it could drastically change who wins in the playoffs and what teams are set up to adjust quicker to this gameplay speed. So yeah, there are some interesting things that are going to be have to look at this off season, but I'm excited about it. We're going to be moving into season 71 here shortly. I'm excited that we finally will be able to fix these Eagles and get a new owner in here. We do have an owner who's retiring, so I'm just kind of putting that out there. There will be 1 or 2 owners who will be stepping down at the end of the season. We are a year-round league, and yet we do have some guys here that don't like to play Madden year-round, and so they're going to be retiring. But we do have some guys on the waiting list who have been approved, and they're just waiting to get a team. I have 2 guys that are there. So just waiting to get them in here and get them ready to go. It'll be an exciting time. The offseason is always one of the funnest times that are coming, and we've got some really good guys here that are going to help us. So any closing remarks? I'm going to just open it up to both of you. Give me your closing thoughts through week 14 and 15, and the playoffs are right around the corner. What do you have to say as we wrap up this show?
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sticking around. Football season's over, but it's never really over. I'll be here definitely throughout the summer and pretty much till we stop going. So good luck with your games this week. Good luck with the playoff run. You should have some cool things coming out here soon. Me and Nate have revamped. We've got an OMFL bracket template, so it should look real nice. Have a lot of extra content coming your way. And check out our rules. We've had a rule update, a clarification on a gray area about once the ball touches the receiver's hands, make sure you know that. You don't want to put yourself at a disadvantage on a tip ball. So with that said, I'll hand it over to Wayne, and good luck, guys.
Yeah, he said it well, guys. Know your, especially that new rule. I guess rule adjustment, because it's a big deal. And guys, play clean cut games. I know it's getting down to where everybody kind of gets that do anything to win mentality, but just remember that
Thirsty.
we're there we go. Thirsty. Let's just play clean cut games. Let's get them in. There's a lot of excitement in the chat. This kind of came back up. I'm glad everybody's getting excited about the playoffs. I'm just ready. I'm just ready for the playoffs to start. I'm ready for the off season to start. I'm ready to see somebody else get a bad little OMFL trophy, even though I'd like it to be me again. But good luck to everybody, and appreciate y'all tuning in to the trio that you have here today.
Yeah, Houday is brought up a good point. I did forget about the gray area clarification. Please check that out. But basically, when a ball touches the receiver or a defensive back and has popped up in the air, or even a fumble, you may begin to switch immediately and try to make a play on the ball. So we are allowing you to do that. I would also say Houday is working on some new incentives and some adjustments, so we will be announcing those here soon. We're also going to have the awards are going to be out soon, so you're going to be able to start voting on your player of the year, rookie of the year, defensive MVP, all those types of things that we're going to push out here really, really soon. Just giving some general feedback. If you watch the show, there a lot of the feedback that we're having, and we've been overwhelmed lately, and we're trying to catch up as quickly as we can. The whole board is kind of pulling together because Rob has been so busy at work. But basically, we could wrap most of this up. Some of you will get messages from us. Look, they're in a tone of we're on the same team. We're not looking to boot you. We're not coming at you sideways. This is just the feedback that we're getting and we need you to be aware of and work on. But all of it can be wrapped up around defensive player misuse. So again, just going back to a rule that we implemented this year, and it's just saying that we want you to operate on defense the same way we operate on offense. Run the play like it's designed to be ran, and don't sketch up your own play. If you're to cover a man on defense, then cover that man. If you're to play a zone, then cover that zone. Don't cover the entire field, running sideline to sideline and zigzagging all over the place and trying to cover all four routes that are being ran. Play realistic. If you know where a play's going, then play the guy that's supposed to cover that area and go make a play. That's what we want to see here, a chess game, not a guy who is just really, really, really good at pressing buttons and he can cover 30 yards of the field and you just can't do anything about it. And so we want to keep it realistic, and that's what a lot of the feedback that is coming back to us is all about. The other stuff is like 70-30 type stuff, guys, passing way too much, and then zone. Zone is just zone heavy is what this Madden is all about. Just be mindful of how much zone you run and just try to keep that as close as you possibly can. So lots of good stuff is coming. I'm excited about what's on its way. Playoffs are here. The offseason will be here. We'll get the draft night vote up here really soon in the next week. New owners are going to be joining us. Lots of exciting time to be in the OMFL. And if you're bored with Madden, there is a FIFA team, there is a golf league, there is a coach mode league, there's a rocket thing that we can get you involved in, there's a WWE league that we can get you involved in, tons of other stuff to keep you busy throughout the summer. We're just looking to have a good time and keep the momentum going. So for Houday, for D-Wayne, thank you both for joining me on the show today. It was a great show. We're going to get this all adjusted and spit it out to everybody. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Tune in. Hopefully Sunday night, Monday, Tuesday, somewhere in that time frame, we'll do a playoff show. Quickly give out some predictions of who we think is going to win it all once we know seeding is set and we're ready to go. But thank you guys again for tuning in. We will see you around on the next Press Pass Live. Peace.
Later, guys.